Hello and welcome to Tour Talk. I'm Dan and this is my brother James. We today's video is going to be about council culture and being offended. There's no set sort of plan for it. We're going to sort of sit down, chat about some stuff, and see where it takes us like normal. But yeah, basically, we were going to look at, is it right that people can get removed from things such as social media and any other social really for something they say? So yeah, it's pretty much. Do you think that's correct? Do you think that's right, or what's your take on it, James?
I think the other thing we've got to say is that we're going to look at not only about people getting cancelled or banned from from YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram sort of thing. We're also going to look at is is personal opinion dead sort of thing. Is the freedom of
Yeah,
speech sort of censored to the point now where it's not free anymore?
yeah,
Um, Obviously you've got certain things which we'll talk about later in the video about certain people, characters, and video streams sort of thing where they've had their own opinions and stuff like that, and I know I'll bring those up and I'll touch them and see what you think about them as well. So don't want to say too much of the introduction sort of thing, but obviously what we'll do is we'll get into it a bit more, and then we'll try and delve a bit deeper into our own. We always start off with our own personal opinions anyway,
yep,
and then we'll sort of branch out into more of the finer points from there.
yep. So yeah, basically, my personal opinion is I agree. Like, well, not agree. I agree with what you've just said in terms of I think freedom of speech is sort of gone. I know it's a big American sort of slogan, so to speak, freedom of speech and stuff. But I feel nowadays people are so withdrawn, just because they're upset about they're worried about upsetting people. I don't think people speak freely as to what they think because there's. It seems nowadays there's so many different not organisations, but there's so many different ways that someone could say that's offensive, that's racist, that's homophobic, that's uh, you know discriminating women. That's it's it just seems like there's a lot of areas that you can put your foot into it, so to speak.
Yeah, I think for myself personally, I've always been, especially when it comes to humor, I guess I think freedom of speech is quite key. Otherwise, it's just not funny.
Hmm.
I guess that's one of the reasons why I've always quite liked Ricky Gervais. I know he's a controversial figure in himself. In
Mm.
a lot of people don't like his humor, but there are a lot of people that love how open he is and stuff like that. And especially
Yeah.
with Afterlife, that series is so funny just because it's so cut and dry, and you
Mm.
can tell that Ricky Gervais is. I don't know if he writes the whole thing or if he just has a big hand in it, sort of thing.
I
But you
think he
can tell
writes
he's
the whole
definitely got
thing.
you can definitely tell that it's him because it's just his humor. That's what I like about it. Is that it's just black humor in it and stuff like that. Not like racist, but dark humor sort of thing. Like, um, in the sense that it's just some stuff in there you would never hear anybody else say. But that's the reason it's just so funny.
Yeah.
And the outtake videos. I know you sent me one before
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
made me laugh so much. Like the outtake videos are just so funny because I think in certain scenes he gives the characters freedom as long as they
Yeah.
run along his sort of narrative.
Yeah. Yeah, I know which one you mean, but that could be the first question. Really, is comedy dying in terms of because they're so restricted in what they can say and what they can do now?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, going back to when we were younger, so to speak, or especially when I was, you had things like Bo Selector, Little Britain. They were like sort of when I started watching probably the more um, explicit comedy, so to speak. But also, I grew up with like Frankie Boyle and people like that, which obviously he's pretty
He's
much
barely on the television at all anymore.
exactly. But I mean, used to find him so funny because he seemed so blunt and he would just say stuff and it would shock you. But like they always say, comedy it's a joke. It's not.
To be taken seriously or to
Yeah,
part.
exactly. Like it's you've got to really be sort of insecure. I feel that you take a comedian's joke to heart and think that they actually mean it, and then people are like, well, then they shouldn't be saying it. But then that's what I mean by is comedy dying, because soon it's going to get to the point where you won't be able to sort of address anything, and it's going to
Yeah.
comedy's just going to go back to being sort of slapstick in terms of, someone walks on and drops a ladder on their head because no one will get offended by that. It's
Ladder makers might.
yes, yeah. People say ladders have feelings too, or something.
But I think that's what I like. Again, going back to Ricky Gervais, I think I like about him because the people that don't like his humor, he says his literal approach is, well, just don't watch it. If you don't like
But
what
that
I'm saying, or you don't like my programs, don't like my humor, then just don't watch it.
but that's exactly the thing. Is that if you pick up a book and you don't like it, if you watch a TV show and you're like, don't really like that, or anything at all in that aspect, don't watch it, don't read it. That's all you need to do. You don't. These people that sort of phone up the television companies, like the amount of times that something's been said on ITV or something like that, where they've done I don't know, like an advert or something, and they've like the next day you'll see in the papers they've had 400,000 complaints. I'm sitting there thinking, how are there 400,000 people that are sitting there with nothing better to do than sit on hold to ITV to moan about an advert?
Listen, people love a moan. Like going
Yeah,
slightly off the cancel culture, like the amount of complaints Ofcom receives every year for Amanda Holden wearing a low cut dress on Britain's Got Talent. Like,
yeah,
that's
and
it.
yeah, and that's the thing though, is that once again that falls in the sort of category of people being
Freedom of
offended.
expression.
Yeah, but if you don't like it, don't watch it. No one's forcing you to watch anything. So
No.
I find it difficult that when I see people like the extreme, say the extreme veganism stuff where people are pushing like you shouldn't eat, you shouldn't do this, this is how you should live your life, because I don't I don't have nothing against anyone in terms of what they want to do, who they want to be, who they like, who they don't like.
Yeah.
I don't care, like, because as long as it doesn't affect me personally, I don't care. Personally, I'm not religious, but I don't have any problems with someone being religious. But if someone was sitting there saying, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, you've got to follow this religion, that's where I'd have a problem, because people are trying to influence the way that I see life
That's
and,
it.
and in how I live my life. That's the only time that I have a problem with anything, really, is when stuff is forced upon you. But all these videos of, for just as an example, that I see one the other day that was about veganism, and that you're killing all these animals, you're doing this, and I turned it off because I was like, I don't want to watch this. Don't interest me.
Did you complain?
I didn't. No, funny enough, I didn't report it as harassment or anything, but that's what it gets to now, and I think a lot of people have to, the amount of celebrities that are now so, you see it where how they were, say, 10 years ago to now. They're all jumping on the bandwagon of, yeah, this is this is that, and it's kind of, it wasn't too long ago that it's like, was it Robbie Downey Jr. that was in Tropic Thunder, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And
He was
obviously,
blackfaced in it, wasn't he?
yeah, at the time, no one batted an eyelid, but obviously with all the
Well, that's the
race
thing.
wars that are going on,
That's the thing that I think is people are looking for stuff now. Like at
yeah,
the time, I'm sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there were people that weren't happy with it, but it wasn't such a bigger thing. Maybe it should have been. Maybe it shouldn't. I don't know. I'm not going down that route, but I
I
think
will. I
people are
don't. I
looking
don't.
for.
I don't think it should be a big issue. It's a movie, and he's dressed up. That I don't personally. I don't see the issue in terms of they're playing a character, and there was one of Eddie Murphy or Denzel Washington. I can't remember, but he in a movie they dressed him up as a white elderly gentleman, and nothing's ever been said about that. So I don't get it. I don't get how
Yeah, I
someone
think
playing a character. I mean, if he was playing a character that was like being stereotypically negative, then yeah, I might understand it. But I don't know. It's
So going back to the Little Britain thing, sort of thing, I used to find it that hilarious sort of thing, and
mm,
they've even come out and said that they're looking to redo something, but they'd have to completely redo everything because obviously none of their characters would be able to do. Because they had Ting Tong, didn't they? She
yeah,
was the Asian lady. They had the
two blokes that were women.
that's it, the
Yeah,
two transvestites. They had the two fat ladies, didn't they? One of them was black, that was again black faced up again, sort of thing.
and also they
Um,
were moaning about the fact that Andy was disabled, but he wasn't disabled, and that's giving people with
benefit cheap.
yeah, exactly, giving people with disabilities a bad name. But
But
once
me
again,
personally, obviously, I don't fall under any of those specific categories, sort of thing. But I, at the time, never saw anything wrong with them because I just saw them as humor. Obviously,
mm,
I understand that some people may be offended, but obviously, as with you, sort of thing. If you don't want to, if you're offended by something, just don't watch it.
yeah,
Like, just
exactly.
turn it off, sort of thing.
I
It's
don't
not.
see the issue. Like I say, if it, it's just everything's so it's got to be censor checked now. Like a lot of people, you can see like are being so careful with what they say because they're just worried about creating an uproar with someone. But yeah,
I think I think even ourselves in this conversation, we're sort of having to slow it down a bit and think about what we say, so we don't say anything that could be potentially offensive in a sense. Because we're not here
yeah,
to offend anyone. We're just
no,
here to have a conversation and talk about different views and different points of view. And the last thing either of us want to do is offend people because um, I know people that are gay sort of thing, and I know people that are black. I know people that are Asian sort of thing. I know people that have had gender realignment sort of things. So it's I don't want to offend anyone sort of thing,
no, not at all.
we're just here to talk sort of thing. I think that's
Yeah,
one thing we need to make clear before we're
and we're
part of the
also
culture.
interested what other people's point of views are. If someone doesn't agree with one of us or both of us, or you know, we like to see that point. Like people,
That's it.
if someone wants to comment below and sort of say, I don't agree with you because of this, that's fine.
Let us
Like,
know.
yeah, like we're not
We're more than
here.
happy to
We're not
we're more
telling
than happy
people
to
how
get
to
you
live their life.
involved, and we're more than happy to get you guys involved, sort of thing.
Mm,
And if you feel deeply about something, then we've not got a problem with you coming in and joining the chat with us, sort of thing. Like we can do another video where we get you involved and we can speak about it, sort of thing. That's what we're here
yeah,
to do, is to talk, sort of thing.
that's it. Yeah,
Um, but I think going on a bit more um towards, because obviously another stereotypical character, which I think is hilarious. Um, but I know that recently, even he's addressed it, is that he's got a lot of criticism from the Asian culture, is the Uncle Roger character
yeah,
on YouTube, where he obviously reviews other people's egg fried rice and stuff like that and does other videos. But he does like a podcast video sort of thing where he talks to another person, and he was talking about the issues where he's had a lot of Asian people complaining, saying that he's negatively affecting the Asian stereotype, when he himself has admitted that he never saw it like that. He was
yeah.
only ever he didn't want to offend anyone. He was just doing it to be
But he's a
funny. He's
comedian again.
that's it. He's Malaysian himself. So what he's done is he's combined a Malaysian with a Hong Kong accent, is what he said, to
Mm,
make it a bit more westernized, a bit more understandable, and a bit more dragged out, and a bit more humorous sort of thing. He never did it to offend anyone. He just did it because it was funny. And
yeah.
I've watched a lot of his videos, and I think they're funny. And obviously, I'm not
Mm.
Asian, so it wouldn't offend me. But I never saw how it could be offensive, especially if it's about himself, sort of just an exaggerated version of himself.
But I find that this is the problem that we're going to have going forward as well, because I mean, people obviously talk about snowflakes and people are too sensitive, but is that because we're now shielding too many people from humour?
Yeah,
I mean, growing up, like you'd take the mick out of your friends would take the mick out of you, they'd say all sorts to you, you'd say all sorts back, and it's part of growing up. And I feel like that gives you maybe a thicker skin than if you're always protected from. I really don't want to use the word banter, but you know what I mean. Like, just
yeah.
um, but yeah, I just feel that they're too shielded, because when you get out into the real world, it's not like that. But it's scary to think that soon. I think you won't be able to say anything without upsetting someone.
I think that there's already a fair aspect of that now, sort of thing.
Mm.
In terms of, I've got friends obviously that I'm quite close with that you can say stuff but because they know you, they know it's a joke sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Or then you know you're only messing around, you're only being serious. But even people that I'm friends with, but not that close to, I don't think I can mess around in the same sort of way because they might misinterpret what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I mean, like I say, I have quite a small circle of friends now. I'd say in terms of how it used to be, but it's you know I'm just I'm pretty much the same wherever really. And the thing is when people meet me for the first time, I'll be very quiet, and I'll be sort of mentally just taking notes of their conversations with other people. So I'll
Yeah,
be sort of like, and then you start to grasp who can take a joke and who can't. And it's like, I know that he can have a laugh and he won't take anything I say to heart or seriously. So I know with that person I could be like that. Whereas other people that I think are, I'm not really sure, I just wouldn't even bother joking around with in terms of anything like that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think everyone sort of, everyone needs it as well. Like in life, you get rejection in terms of like jobs, stuff like that, and I think it is character building. No, don't get me wrong. Like, please do not think that I'm sitting here saying you need like someone should racially abuse someone to make them a better person. I don't mean like
No.
that. What we're talking about is um, obviously like comedy in terms of or like with your friends and stuff. You'd say stuff that is just you're just having a joke or a laugh. I'm not saying that you should racially abuse someone. Um, but yeah, it's I'm
I
not.
think I think touching on a point you mentioned earlier about people are free to believe in what they want to believe in, but I think so about religion sort of thing, people can believe in any religion they want to,
Mhm,
dieting wise, food wise, people can eat whatever they want to.
mhm,
I agree in the sense that I'm perfectly okay. I don't really care what people believe in or what they do, sort of thing.
mhm.
It does get to me when people push it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
people
Just
can
don't push it on other
like
people.
just as an example, people can be Jehovah's Witnesses, not a problem to me at all. But I don't like it when they come knocking on their door trying to get me to convert to become a Jehovah's Witness. That's
Yeah,
not why. I do
yeah.
not appreciate that at all. Like
No.
that is,
And that's
um,
it. That's the thing. I mean, it's all about letting people live their own lives. I
we're
mean,
literally on this earth for 80, 90 years. If you've got had led a good life, sort of thing, people
mm,
should be free to do whatever they want to do.
yep,
Obviously within reason. I'm not. Yeah,
yeah.
again,
Within
people should.
within the obvious
Yeah,
law, laws
if
in
people want to believe in things,
yeah.
then that's fine.
I mean, laws in place to keep everyone safe, and follow the law and stuff. And but in the same aspect, it's starting to get a bit silly in terms of you know, like just you see it all the time. Like in the media are terrible for it because I feel like that they sort of instigate a lot of issues that
Scaremonger.
yeah, exactly, and it's they just seem to just poke the fire to keep it going with all sorts. I mean, in America now, like you look in, I wouldn't say as much in the UK, but America wise, you look at obviously Black Lives Matter and stuff, and the police and stuff like that, and it's crazy over there. But the media isn't helping with that either, which I think is a massive issue. And it's our media, like especially with the COVID stuff. I mean, what it was a couple of days ago. I think it was a couple of days ago that they come out and I think it was on Sky News and the chap come out and said, yeah, the death toll for COVID's all wrong because they've done this, or because of it being if they tested positive in 28 days, then
Yeah.
they yeah. So it's yeah, like I say, the media aren't helping, and I think people obviously need to make their own minds up about stuff. But that's the problem that we have with cancel culture is that people can't make their own minds up anymore.
And I guess if you look at the flip side of cancel culture, there is a very fine line between the humor we're talking about, like the Ricky Gervais sort of thing, where he's that fine line of humor between it becoming humor and just completely offensive with it. I think that's what you've. I think that's where it's a lot of it's been misconstrued, is where there was possibly some comedians that thought they were being funny or were masking and saying they're funny, and they weren't being trying to be funny, sort of thing. They were
Yeah.
just trying to be offensive.
Oh
I think
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
fine line.
That's
I think
different,
that's where
but
the problems have
also
arose.
people will start to lose the ability to watch what they want and have their own objective sort of points of view, because what offends me might not offend you. What doesn't offend you is might offend me. It's all personal opinion, and I'm not
Yeah,
sure how you can base society or stuff like that around opinion. And we're not talking about people being racist and stuff. People that are racist are just vile people. But like I say, it's from a comedy aspect of, you know, people playing characters and it clearly not being someone out to like offend people. Then really it should be subjective to the people that either watch it or they don't.
yeah. I think that's the key point, is that obviously I think we've covered it enough in this video to say that we're fairly open people in the sense that black, white, Asian, gay, straight, trans, religious, not religious, whatever people want to be, they can be whoever they want to be as long as it makes them happy.
And it's
I
important
don't
for
think
them
it's
to be who they want to be.
yeah,
As long as they're happy in themselves, then that's fine. And that's what I sort of look at it as, is that people that do say create look for stuff to like complain about and you know, try to get cancelled or try to get removed and stuff, a lot of the time aren't happy within themselves. And you know, if you're happy within yourself, then great. But like once again, like we said before, if someone's out being um, obviously provocative to a certain group or race or
yeah,
religion or anything like that, that is totally unacceptable. And then they should be removed. But people that, you know, that it isn't directly being sort of aggressive or, you know, to I don't see where the line is and how you can draw a line.
yeah. I think that's the tricky part, is known is the line, because as you say, the line's different for everyone.
Mm.
I guess that's
My line
where the
might not be the same size, shape, and whatever else as yours. So,
that's it. I think that's where the problem with the cancel culture comes in, is because I think they do the line based on the majority of people.
or who shouts the loudest?
Exactly. So but yeah, I don't know. So I guess looking back at what we've discussed this video, I suppose it's one of those things where I guess we've covered the element of humor quite a lot, because I think that's
Mm.
what it all comes down to at the end of the day. I think
But
unless it's humor,
I think with the media as well, that's a big part of it as well, of what they show and what they don't show. Um, Once again, it's going to the say for more probably UK based would be COVID, wouldn't it? I know that it's worldwide, but I mean, in America, there's quite a lot of like obviously race war, political war in terms of presidency and
yeah,
stuff like that at the minute. But for UK, it's, you know, you've got these supposed fact checkers, people like that are getting stuff removed off of social media, so it's not, so it's saying it's false information and stuff. And the way I look at it is that, why is it being removed? Because it's, you know, I feel confident in myself that if I look at a piece of information, I wouldn't sit there and go, you know, if someone put out some information, for example, saying an elephant impregnated a mouse, I wouldn't expect someone to fact check that for me. I feel that I'm confident in myself to sit there and go, yeah, that's a load of rubbish.
yeah,
But if someone puts that story up, and then all of a sudden they're trying to remove it. It's difficult to find. You see posts that are taken down because of it and stuff like that. You can't help but sit there and think, well, why are they going through so much hassle to remove stuff? Surely there's a point where they've got to say, use your common sense. You're always going to get people that look at stuff different. Like, is the earth round? Is it flat? Is it, it doesn't matter. People are going to look at stuff differently, and I don't think that's ever going to change. But in the same aspect, to remove one side of it and say, this is definitely right. And by the way, I'm not sitting there saying that the earth's flat and stuff like that, but you know what I mean? It's what I'm saying is that if they go through so much hassle to remove one side, it makes it look like that they're either hiding something or, that why are they going out their way to do that?
I think in the terms of you've got to look at it from the other point of view. Is like, if you move away from the racial side of things and stuff like that, if people just want to be completely ignorant and completely stupid and say random rubbish that makes no sense and it just makes them look like an idiot, then don't remove that. Leave it up there for the world to see that person's an idiot.
Yeah, well, this is it. But then it's down to them people to make that assumption, not for people to make that decision for other people.
Yeah, it's all about personal choice and about personal opinion. And I guess this is one of those conversations that we're having, and that everyone is going to have the different opinion. People are going to agree with us. People are going to disagree with us. People are going to have to form their own opinions, but I think that's what life is.
And once again, we're not pushing on anyone what to believe and what not to believe and what's right, what's wrong. We're literally just having a discussion. And like I say, if people are going out like violently or going like recently, for a perfect example, people that when Manchester United lost to Sheffield United, and people went on Twitter to personally racially abuse Tuanzebe and I think Rashford as well. That is just completely unacceptable. Should not be on there, and that's what annoys me personally, because you've got stuff like that people are able to do without any consequences, because they can just make fake accounts and stuff. And social media platforms are going out their way to ban information that could or could not be true, but they're not doing anything. They're not doing enough to stop all these people that are creating these fake accounts or anything like that and racially abusing people.
Yeah, I think that's something that we can touch on, possibly in a separate video, especially in regards to the Ian Wright case that came back yesterday, where about the fan that racially abused him because he lost on a game of FIFA and he got cleared of all charges. Like, how does that make any sense? But again, that's something that we can discuss more in an individual video about. Is social media doing enough towards combating racism and stuff like that? I guess we all know the answer is probably no. But as I say, we'll look at that in a separate video.
That's the thing, though, is that I think that they do, but they do it in the wrong way, and they focus their energy on stopping other things that are probably not getting the things that are like I say, people being able to create fake accounts, go under fake names so they can't be identified, going onto Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and sitting there calling being directly racially abusing someone. That should be their number one stop.
Yeah,
they not whether Henry down the road wrote an article about the world being flat and they don't want that on there. That's where I'm so confused about it, because it's like, what's actually important? You've got things like say, he's wrote an article, Earth's flat, or like I say, and I'm not saying that all flat Earth stuff gets removed or anything like that. It's just an example. But he's saying the Earth's flat, and then they say, oh, we've fact checked this and this is wrong, so we're going to take it down. But then you've still got other people on there that are going on and racially abusing people and stuff like that, and nothing's being done about it, or not. You don't see much being done about it. That's where I'm like, well, let Henry put his article up about the flat Earth and go and get the people that are actually going out their way to be racially abusing people. And like I say, that falls under anything like homophobia, people about religion and stuff like that. like I said before, if people want to believe whatever they want to believe, as long as it's not forced on me and I don't feel that I'm being suffocated by it, like in terms of you should do this, you should do that, I haven't got a problem with it. And the media companies shouldn't have a problem with it either. But what they should have a problem with is people going out being malicious and being stupid about stuff.
Yeah, I
That's
agree. Yeah.
where they need to focus their main points on.
I think, yeah, I agree in terms about what you say in regards to people can believe what they want to believe, just don't force it on anyone. Um, also, I think it's down to people at the end of the day what they want to believe.
Mm.
And as I said, if people want to believe random nonsense, then that's entirely up to them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's their choice to do so.
Yeah, but but like I say, I think we've rounded it up there. Once again, if you've got different opinions, if you've got anything you want us to discuss, then drop it in the comments below. Please like and share and subscribe. But yeah, just to confirm, really, we're not out to upset anyone. We're not out to isolate a certain group or say, these people are wrong, these people are right. This is just two brothers talking and, just giving
Let us
our own
know.
point of views.
Let us know if you disagree, agree, whatever you want to say. Just talk. That's what we're doing. It's just talking.
Until next time, thanks for stopping by.